Okay, it's officially time for today's A to Z mini reworks, my thoughts, ideas, so on and so forth, and yeah! Okay, we are officially on Graves, the Outlaw! Damage is exceedingly physical. Style is majority auto attacks. But I would actually move it a bit more towards abilities, because even his E you use a reasonable amount, especially because it does reset his auto attacks. His Q you throw out there whenever you get a chance. Same with his W is usually both an initiation or an escape. And his alt, you often you use his abilities a lot more than you really think you do, to be quite honest. He would seem a lot more auto attack based, especially with his passive. But to be completely honest, he is a bit more ability than what this is showing. He is mostly auto attack, but he is a bit more ability than what this is showing right here. It should be moved like a couple more nudges over to make it about 1/3 of the way, leaning towards auto attacks. Difficulty is 2. This is very true. He isn't a champion that's insanely difficult to play, but he does have a high skill ceiling. So you honestly want to act as if he's a difficulty 3 when trying to master him, but just trying to play him, yeah, it's like he's pretty reasonable to pick up, but hard to master. Malcolm Graves is a renowned mercenary, gambler, and thief. A wanted man in every city and empire he has visited. Even though he has an explosive temper, he possesses a strict sense of criminal honor, often enforced at the business end of his double-barreled shotgun destiny. In recent years, he has reconciled a troubled partnership with Twisted Fate, and together they have prospered once more in the turmoil of Bilgewater's criminal underbelly. I forgot that he got together with Twisted Fate. Okay, new destiny. Why is it new? Isn't his shotgun just destiny? Graves' shotgun holds 2 shells. After firing them, he must reload. Each attack fires several bullets in a cone. Hitting an enemy with multiple bullets does bonus damage. With multiple, oh, okay. These bullets cannot pass through units, such as kind of like skill shots where they can't pass through units, in the sense that if you get behind something like minions or a tank or just someone on your team, just in general, the bullets will actually hit them instead. So that's just something you want to keep track of. Like if a Graves ever ganks you and there's a minion wave, then you want to move behind the minion wave as soon as possible. Now, for the rest of it, it's all pretty self-explanatory. He needs to reload after firing 2 shots, but each of the shots are in a cone. It does do bonus damage, so a smaller target is you're kind of safer when it comes to damage. But this also means that the closer he is to you, the more damage he's going to do, because the closer he is to you, the more bullets are going to hit you. Just as also, if the closer he is to a turret, the faster the turret dies, because all the bullets will hit the turret instead of just 1 or 2. Then we have his Q. End of the line. Graves fire an explosive shell that detonates after 2 seconds or 0.2 seconds if it strikes terrain. Okay, so obviously it's exactly what it looks like. He just fires this. It does a little twirl, hits the ground, and then it does like it looks like a T. Like as you can see from his body, then makes a T, then does back in the same thing. Now once it hits over here, it doesn't actually do the T. It only does that when it lands and then comes back, just so you are aware. Then there's Smoke Screen, which Graves fires a smoke canister at the target area, creating a cloud of smoke that reduces sight range. Enemies caught in the initial impact are dealt magic damage and have their movement speed reduced briefly. Honestly, it's a pretty good ability. As I said, most of the time people use it to initiate the fight, just so you can't see Graves. Also, it slows you for a little bit. But you can also use it as an execute and throw it directly on top of yourself or directly on top of them when they're trying to engage on you. That way they can't see you, and then they are also slowed when they get out. Then we have his E, Quick Draw. Graves dashes forward, gaining an armor boost for several seconds. If Graves dashes towards an enemy champion, gain 2 stacks of True Grit instead. Hitting enemies with basic attacks lowers the cooldown of the skill and refreshes the resistance boost. And refreshes the resistance boost. Oh, they changed that since the last time I've seen it. He just towards an enemy champion, gain 2 stacks of True Grit. What the heck is True Grit? Instead, he dashes forward, gaining an armor boost. It's not his shells. It's What the heck is True Grit? Like, it doesn't even describe it. One plus 2, 3 bonus armor matters every second he remains in combat. The bonus are increased every 6 levels. This bonus stacks up to 6. Okay, that's his passive. Is this his old? Oh, wow. I think that's his old. Wait a minute. Why do they keep the same icon? Here's just for resisting his basic and refilling one for a second, stacking up 8 times. Which meaning champion grants 2 stacks. Okay. Graves also gains armor for 4 seconds, stacking up to 8 times. Okay, so it just gives him more armor when he's dashing to you. I kind of figured that what it was, but I wanted to be exact to other people, to you guys, so you know what you're talking about. So if he does dash towards you, which as I was talking about, the closer he is to you, the more damage his passive does. He actually gains more armor. And then the armor only lasts for 4 seconds, but apparently it gets refreshed upon him getting an auto attack off. Hitting enemy champions with basic attacks lowers the cooldown of his skill and refreshes the resistance boost. Okay, so auto attacking though refreshes it. So if he continues to auto attack and use his E, he can stack it up to 8. Wow. I can actually get pretty high in a team fight to an extent. But, yeah, it's... honestly, it's okay. It's definitely something that you can use for, like, either defensive or offensive, but primarily offensive. You want to use it to get right in the face of someone. That way your auto attacks do more damage, plus you will gain bonus armor resistance. Okay, next is Collateral Damage. Graves fires an explosive shell, dealing heavy damage to the first champion it hits. After hitting a champion or reaching the end of its range, the shell explodes, dealing damage in a cone. This is a big ability. Like, it has very far range because it does go into the cone after hitting the end of its range. Or it just like hits the first thing and then goes into a cone, meaning it can do multiple, like a lot of damage to a wide area if you're purposely aiming for something so that it goes into a cone. And then it does do % missing health damage. I don't know if it says that. Or dealing heavy damage to the first champion it hits after hitting the champion or reaching the end of its range. Yeah, it doesn't say, but it does do % missing health damage. So, yeah, it's more of something that you want to use as a finisher, and that's really it. Like, you either want to use it to finish off a target and, like, have the first shell hit that target. That way, they just die, plus, the missing health damage. Or you want to do it kind of in the sense of, like, when a fight's already going on, but then the enemy's kind of bunched up so the entire cone will hit a large group. But then again, it still does missing health damage, so you still kind of want to wait for them to be at lower health to use it. Now, I only give reworks to champions that either fully need them, in my case, that I think, such as Garen, Annie, Fiddlesticks, those are the champions that I think fully need a rework. Or if I just thought of a rework kind of randomly and really liked the idea of it. Now, to be completely honest, this isn't really a rework. This is more of a mini rework with, like, the abilities are pretty much the same, but it's just slightly different. There's just one big mechanic that is very different for the way Graves is, and it's kind of insane how what the idea that I'm thinking of will actually change him pretty significantly and probably make him a very big threat to those who can play him well. So, he is going to have the same passive as Victor, kind of. Where his passive would be changed to Destiny. It'd keep the name and all. But it would be his shotgun, but it'd be also in the terms of mods that he's capable of buying in the store for his shotgun. Now, I'm not quite sure. I haven't worked out everything in the sense of like how attack speed would affect him, how everything like that would affect him. But basically what it is he would start out exactly the way he is now. He'd have 2 shells, he'd have his Q, he'd have his W, he'd have his E, but a little differently now. Okay, I guess not the exact same, sorry, I kind of misled you there. But his Q would use one of his auto attacks. The Q would use one of his shells. Because of, he'd hit his Q and he'd actually shoot one of the 2 shells that his shotgun has, meaning he'd only have 1 auto attack left. But, he'd be able to upgrade his Q a little differently. Then there's his W, which can only be fired once he's down a shell. Or it can have a bonus effect. Now, what I mean by this is after he does 1 auto attack or uses his Q, he's going to have 1 shell empty. But we're going to kind of take a note from Jin here, where Jin throws a magic bullet casing. In this, he's throwing a bullet casing instead of a smoke canister. And what it's going to be steaming because he just fired that shot and it's still very hot, and so on and so forth. So he's going to fire that out. It's going to do magic damage. It's going to clear the area. But if you fire it and you didn't have a magic, like if you didn't have an empty round, such as you use your Q and you fire it, then you had 1 empty round. But if you have a full magazine, meaning you have both shots still in the barrel, you will use one of your shots to fire it. But in doing so, it will not leave, I'm saying a lot of but. It will not leave a smoke screen. It will just do a bigger amount of damage upon landing. And it will still be true damage, but it will be based off of your AD. Now, if you use it when you when you have 1 empty canister, it doesn't matter where your empty canister is, whether you wanted to use the empty canister or not, you will always use an empty canister if available. But if you do that, then it will, but if you use it with the empty canister, it will throw out the smoke screen and it will do ability damage upon landing, but it will be based off of your ability damage. But if you use it with your with a bullet still in there, it will do ability damage, but based off of your attack damage upon landing. Now, this is the upgrade. I don't really realize why I told you this, and I didn't tell you the Q upgrade yet, but whatever. Now, his E. His E will honestly be the exact same. He will automatically reload 1 shot upon dashing, and he will gain armor. Now, I'm just going to tell you the upgrade, but I told you W's upgrade is the upgrade that you can do for it is that it will do whatever the heck it'll called. You'll reload 2 shots at a time, and I'll tell you why that's kind of important in the future. And then his R is going to be the exact same, and then the upgrade will, okay, it's not going to be the exact same. The upgrade will make it is to what it currently is, but the way it is right now is you'll fire a shot, and it will take one of your bullets now, meaning that if you have not reloaded, you cannot fire. But if you do fire, it will go into the cone, but it will not go into the cone if it hits max range, meaning if you miss, it'll just do that exactly that. It'll just miss. Actually, I think I think I got that wrong. It will not go into the cone, and it will just hit first target without the upgrade. Now, you can only upgrade twice. Oh, and your Q's upgrade is that you'll be able to hold a second shot, and it will do slight bonus damage. Like your Q can go through 2 cooldowns, and you can use them in rapid succession if you want. Now, what your passive is, which is the big thing about this, is you will be able to buy mods in the store. Now, you'll have like the same passive that you have now, where you can auto attack, you shoot up multiple shells, so on and so forth. But when you go into the store, in like your recommended items or something, kind of like with Victor, how he can upgrade his Stath several times, you can upgrade to mods. Now, what the mods will do is they will give you another shot. Once you get the first mod, it will give you 3 auto attacks, and you'll reload. You'll still reload in the same speed that you would, but with the 2 auto attacks. But this will also give you the opportunity to upgrade one of your 4 abilities. You can either upgrade your Q, increasing its damage, but giving you a second one as well, meaning you can hit, since you'll have 3 shells in your chamber, you'll be able to hit Q twice, fire both the shells, both of them do damage, and then you'll be able to auto attack once. You can upgrade your E, making it reload 2 of your shells, meaning you can auto attack 3 times, then dash, then auto attack 2 more times. Or you can upgrade your W, which, as of right now, like, it can only be activated after using 1 singular auto attack, and then it will fire an empty bullet casing, causing a smoke screen and doing the small amount of damage. But if you upgrade it, then you will be able to shoot a live round, a bullet. It will use one of the bullets in your shell, and then it will do bonus magic damage, but it will not leave the smoke screen. Or you can upgrade your ult and make it into what it currently is, meaning it hits the target and then it will go into a cone instead of just hitting the target. Now, you can do this twice. There will be 1 upgrade to get the 3rd, so you'll have 3 shots, and then you can upgrade a second time, and you will have 4 total shots, instead of having a double barrel shotgun, you will have a quadruple barrel shotgun. You will be able to shoot 4 shots without reloading. You will still reload all 4 shots, and I want to say the same speed. Honestly, you should probably reload them a little bit slower because you'll have so many. You'll be able to dash, gain your armor, and then you can upgrade another ability. You cannot upgrade the same ability twice. Such as you leveled it up the first time and you leveled your ult. That way it'd go into the cone so you can help finish off people. Then you leveled your E the second time, and that makes it so that you can auto attack 4 times, dash, then you can auto attack 2 more times. But then your W and your Q would stay the way that they are. Your Q, you'd only be able to fire a single time, and it would use a single shell in your quad barrel shotgun. And then you'd be able to use your W, but you could only use your W in the sense that you fired at least 1 of your shots. So the only problem with this is it kind of makes him probably more of a difficulty 3 champion, a harder to use champion. But at the same time, it increases his damage potential for those players that are really good at him insanely high. Which is also why I think that if we do this update, he might be a little bit too strong. But at the same time, I think you could definitely work with it, maybe make him something like Jin and make it so that attack speed doesn't actually increase his attack speed at all, and that instead it causes him to reload at a faster rate. Like he will start with a set attack speed, and it will actually be really slow. That way, even from like when he has 2 barrels or he has 4 barrels, and he will need to get attack speed only so that he can reload faster. But then that will lower like his damage because his Q scales with AD. His passive will scale with AD. Obviously, like his auto attacks will. But since he can only reload faster and he'll still be shooting at the same speed, so he'll need to get attack speed and have attack damage. So it'll take him longer to get going, and these mods will also cost money. Kind of like Victor, where like the first few levels, Victor's doing a meh amount of damage. Yeah, he can still kill you, but he's really not doing an insane amount of damage. When it comes to Graves, his first few levels, he'll doing like the same thing. He'll do a meh amount of damage where he'll be able to hurt you, but he won't have any of his mods, meaning he'll basically be a lesser version of what he is now. He won't be able to use his W without using an auto attack or his Q. He won't be able to use his Q without reloading. His E will be the same thing it is currently, basically. And like his ult will only be able to hit one single target and just really damage them. So he'll just be a lesser version of himself with, yes, he can still solo you, but it will be a lot more harder for him to do so. But when he hits late game and he has 4 items and both of his mods, kind of like Victor, he'll be able to one-shot you. Well, not really one-shot, but he'll be able to kill you a lot faster and a lot easier. Meaning, like, as the game goes on, you need to make sure that you're also getting tougher and avoiding him more and more the longer the game goes. He will essentially just be getting stronger and stronger. And that is the mini rework that I have for Graves. Now, I don't really know why I thought of this. I guess I was probably thinking of Victor when I thought of it, because that's really what I'm copying as Victor's passive above all else. But I just really think that it would be a great idea for him. I hate the fact that his Q, where it even like says he fires an explosive shell, but yet it doesn't use one of his auto attacks. And I was just like, that doesn't make any sense. We should fix this. That's why I said like he should use an auto attack. The smoke canisters I'm fine with. The E I'm fine with. I think that it can be a bit stupid when it gives him his armor, especially like when he's capable of like chaining it for a long enough time, getting enough armor, but also sustaining it for a pretty long time is annoying. And same with like his ult, where he fires yet again another explosive shell, but he doesn't actually use a shell in his gun. And that's just something that I really think is kind of stupid, and why I'm saying that we should change him to having a quad barrel shotgun after getting the mods, and just so on and so forth. Now let's move on to his skin. I love his base skin, to be completely honest. I think he just looks fantastic, and I love it. Then there's hired gun Graves, which I think it's honestly just his base skin, just lower quality. To be completely honest, I just kind of find it to be a base skin, but lower quality and pretty meh. Then there's Jailbreak Graves, which is actually one of the few lore skins in the game. So because of that, I do like it. I don't exactly understand how, because he broke out of jail, somehow gave him like metal. Like he went from. I don't think, he'd obviously wouldn't look like this, but I don't think he'd look like this. Like, I feel like he should have like a prison uniform on, which I guess there's kind of a prison uniform there, but not really. I mean, I guess this is in a different area, so you don't really expect to have an exact prison uniform like orange and red stripes, but I also wouldn't really put a weird jumpsuit on him, and then he has all these random metal parts on his body, which I guess is kind of armor, which I can understand why he has, but at the same time, I think it's kind of stupid. I think the shotgun's kind of cool, but I would have made like the shotgun to have like prison logos on it, and say like the word prison, like, or security on the side. and make it seem like he pulled the shotgun off of a worker. I'd keep the majority of, and then have like random bits. It kind of looks like he does have like random bits of debris, as I was about to say, but not just like random bits of debris and everything around like armor. I'd have like some security armor thrown on there, maybe like a metal plating just from like the wall or something thrown in a few other areas, maybe like a bed sheet kind of thing, because you do have a bed. Just throw a spoon somewhere on him, just so it seemed as if he like tried to spoon his way out, because you know how there's like always in like movies and things, whenever the prisoners spent like years digging a hole using a stinking spoon. Just throw things like there to make it a bit comedic, but also to make it really cool and exact. So throw some prison logos on there, throw security logos on his gun and on a few pieces of his armor. Put like a orange and red, honestly, like an orange and black jumpsuit on the majority of his body, like where you see this like blue texture in this area, and then like on his upper body and randomly on him, kind of like how it is currently. Put like a security thing, just a random metal plate. Put like a plate, like an honest to God like plate on his stomach, like the one that you eat off of. Make it metal, just something like that. Just something along that to seem as if he just scrounged up whatever he could hold to make some armor, that he ripped some armor off of the guards to use that like as armor, that he took the gun from the guards, and then, you know, put like a prison uniform on him. And I think that skin would look so much cooler. I like this skin just because it's Mafia and he's using a Tommy gun. Besides that, to be truthful, I think the skin looks pretty okay. Not really that good in my personal opinion. But because it's Mafia and he has a Tommy gun, I just like it. And that's really it. But I would definitely like a new texture on this would be a lot better in my opinion. Riot Graves. I don't like it, to be completely honest. I wish that he did have like a bit more on him per se. Like I think that he does look good in like the regular Riot gear, that he does have like the armor on, but I just don't like it. I think it's also like the Mafia skin where it just needs a new texture. Pool Party Graves, I think, honestly, is just very funny. If I ever was going to see someone like Graves, that's honestly how I'm imagining they would look. How he has, like, the Riot symbol on his the sunglasses, everything about it, honestly, I love it. I just love how they also messed with the weapon and made it some weird, futuristic water gun. It's just very amusing to be, so I love this skin, and I think it's a good skin. Cutthroat Graves, I think I love it half because he's with Twisted Fate, and the other half because he's using a stinking cannon as his weapon. I think that the skin itself looks really good, both in game and out of game. I love this skin, and I think they did a great job. I'm not really sure how the heck they'd remodel this to fit what I'm talking about with having like the quad barrel, but I'm willing to bet that it would still look great, to be completely honest. And I love this skin. Snow Day Graves, I think, is pretty meh. I think it looks better than the two I was complaining about earlier, which was Riot. I think it looks a lot better than like Hired Gun, Riot, Mafia. But like I think this is what they need to do. They need to like go to these skins and then give it just like an art rework. I find it amusing how he is using a snow blower, but at the same time find it okay. Honestly, it's a very good skin for what they did. It looks great. It just doesn't fit me personally for some reason. I just don't really like it. I just don't like looking at it. But it is a good looking skin. It does. I like the things that they did with the snowblower and how he looks. It's just I personally just Victorious Graves. Honestly, I think they could have done better at this. Like, I think that it does look very good. He does look very like a lot more professional than he regular does. But I would have kept like a bit more of like the poofed up red thing. I know how he does have like the whole cape, but I would have kept it like poofed up just because that's kind of his major look. I like this whole bit. I can't think of what this is called when they do this to armor and everything with like the floral design. I wish there was kind of a bit more than just this one. I wish there was like two going across him. I wish that this had a bit more to it than just kind of like sort of a lion head, but not exactly. I kind of wish that it had a bit more of like metal kind of like being on the back of it and just adjusting to the shoulder blade a bit more than it really is. I feel as if his armor is a bit too bland in a sense. Same with like his shotgun. Usually all of them have like a really cool design to it, and this one does right here. And I love this one right here. Like it even has like the whole lion mane thing, the lion head. I wish there was a bit more of lion mane like coming across the gun over here and up top. But then like the front of it is just like a double barrel shotgun with some heat exhaust, and then like the back of it is just like a normal shotgun butt. Like you couldn't have like thrown like a lion paw down here, make the entire thing gold, thrown a lion paw right here with like one little toe, a medium toe, and then a big toe, each one with a big claw coming out of it, or like a little claw, medium claw, big claw. I don't really like this whole like guard thing that's right here. I would have preferred it if he just had like as if like kind of with like the model guns where you have to like raise your hand out and then bring it back to reload it. Like have that with like finger grips going down it. Put something at the front of it, like yet again, like have a lion's mouth. Like instead of putting that there, put like a lion's claw back here. Put a lion's claw up front to make it like the lion's two claws. Put the mouth of the lion right here. Put the two barrels coming out of the mouth with like the teeth coming around it. Have the face up top with like the mane right here, and then right here just have some sort of like metal area showing like fur, have like a little bud representing the tail, and just have like just overall just make it more gold and just seem as if it's like the lion's body type deal. So I really think that they could have improved the shotgun in the okay, really it's like mainly the shotgun. I think that the other things I kind of got a little nitpicky with his body, but just the main thing is they really wish they just improved the shotgun. I think, yeah, it would have been maybe a bit too much, everything that I'm saying, but at the same time, right now, I think it's way too little. And I always say either go big or go home. Like, either have too much, and that's it. Like, just have too much. Don't go too little. But overall, I think Graves' regular skin and his Cutthroat skins are his two best skins, in my opinion. This one, it should be a third, but honestly, it's a fourth behind Stinkin' Pool Party, and the next would be Mafia, in my opinion. But the only reason it's a fourth behind Pool Party is just because I feel like the gun itself is so underwhelming. Like, the fact that a water gun looks better is like, that is your reasoning why. Like, this looks cooler than that. But yeah, so thank you all. Well, actually, if you disagree or agree with any of the things that I have said about Graves, please leave a comment down below telling me why or why not. If you like it, then also do the same. Just like tell me why you like it. I will gladly get back to you. Utility? Just being able to blind someone gives you utility? Okay, whatever. I forgot I didn't even look at the darn scroll. This is correct. This is correct. This is correct. I don't understand how one blind gives utility, but whatever. So thank you all very much for watching today's day, and I'm going to bid you all adieu. Goodbye.